How are y'all doing tonight? Woo! Day one, and we are just getting started. Daniel Pape and Kimberly Maska are two of my favorite people that exist. And y'all are in for a treat. Raise your hand if you already work with them in some kind of capacity. Okay, yes, I see friends out here. So there are a lot of people who wake up from their own reality and they go, you know what? I want something more. I want to help the people. I want to step into my mission. And whatever that looks like, you know, sometimes we got to work our day jobs. That's cool. But we have this other side of us that's kicking online in a huge way, right? Nod your head if you know what I'm saying. Yes, we're all here because of that. And I can say from myself, you know, my business is Divine Frequency. I quit my day job 5 years ago, and I've been really pushing to be able to do what I do in a full-time capacity. And we have a lot of limiting belief systems. Have y'all heard that word? Limiting belief systems surrounding money. We think, oh, I can only get money if I sell my soul and work a 9 to 5. But guess what? That's not true. And our friends Kimberly and Daniel are going to talk about this today. We need to change the way we think and feel so that we can connect to what's called prosperity mindset and abundance mindset. And we need to constantly be doing this because you can hear it and then you can forget it. But today we're going to ground that in, and we're going to make this a part of our reality so that we can actually co-create the future and the reality that we want. So give it up right now. Thank you so much for being here. Come on up.
All right, Ron.
All right, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Teresa, for the warm welcome, and welcome, everybody. As you know, I'm Daniel. This is Kimberly, and we are, amongst other things, we are creative partners, and we are here to share with you our expertise and what we've been doing lately. We basically focus, we have a company that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create 6 figures and beyond. That's really our goal. Where is the clicker? You have, this is going to happen a lot tonight, just so you know. Thank you, dear. Yes. So here we are, how to free yourself from the mental disease of poverty. Our mission is to help 5,000 spiritual entrepreneurs create 5,000 spiritual businesses in 5 years. And the best part about all this is it's happening. We're actually doing it. It's working. What I also find interesting about that is that there's a common thread that we notice that a lot of the people who succeed, that we're able to actually get them to the 6-figure level, they have a certain mindset. It's literally abundance. And people that hold on to scarcity or fear, they don't reach that level. So we're here to talk about the mental. That's why it's a mental disease. It literally is dis-ease when you're holding on to scarcity. So we've noticed that common thread, which I find very interesting. So can you imagine for a minute placing abundance in the hands of spiritual entrepreneurs, people like yourselves, people who care, you're consciousness driven, you want to make a difference. Could you imagine how we literally could create a paradigm shift where people would, you know, put the money in the hands of people who actually want to serve, want to help others, and don't forget to live the joyful life that you deserve as well, because it is your birthright to be abundant. Now, how do I know that? Why am I so confident that it's our birthright? Well, just look around, especially at this place. I mean, nature, it's beaming with life. Everywhere I look, I see abundance, until man steps in with limited thinking or scarcity, and it changes. So it's our birthright to be abundant. And Kimberly, we're going to talk about money now. We're going to go. Let's start. Here's the clicker.
We're going to be doing this a lot.
Yeah, a lot. This is going to happen. But let's set an intention.
So first I want to set an intention, because we know that this money topic triggers a lot of people. So I want to make sure that we're coming in the right space together, in the right energy, and the right vibration. So what our intention here is tonight is to really shift your vibration around money, how you think and how you feel about money and how it comes into your life. And so that means we need you to be open to receiving new information, Because again, this is a trigger process, right? This whole money thing. For our entire lives, we've been given these limiting beliefs about money. And so what I'm going to do, and we're going to do here together with Daniel, is we are going to challenge how you think about money, spirituality, and business. So be open, come with your glass empty, and being open to receiving new information. So what we're going to do while we're here together is that you are going to learn the 5 shifts that our clients are using to transcend poverty and create the abundance in their lives that they deserve. And so I always like to, Daniel always says, we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to talk about what we talked about. So that's what we're going to do, so we know where we're going. So the first thing we're going to cover is we're going to talk about how you are 100% responsible for your financial circumstances and why poverty really is a mental disease. We're also going to talk about the reason why light workers like yourselves have been told not to charge. It's a very interesting process. We're going to talk about the one way to create abundance and feel satisfied with the abundance you're creating. Because I know a lot of times we work, we create money, and it just doesn't feel good. So we're going to talk about the way that you can do that. We're also going to talk about, this is a big trigger one, why earning less than 6 figures is being selfish. And that's not a typo, it is about being selfish. It's a good thing, I promise, so just hang in there and it will all make sense. And then the last thing is another big trigger, is money is love. It really is, and we've been told it's not. We've been conditioned to see it in a different way, and by the time we're done here, hopefully we'll all be on the same page that money really is love. So let's talk a little bit about this big word, money. When we hear the word money, when we hear about wealth, there's all sorts of things that come up in us. We get all these negative emotions. There's anger, there's resentment, there's jealousy, there's so much that bubbles up. We've been told that people who earn money are bad or they're greedy, and we carry these beliefs with us. We also like to kind of fall into this Babylonian money magic system, right? We have all heard about that. And so when we hear about money, we think of that, how it was created for enslavement and control, which puts us in the debt matrix. And then we think about the elite banking families, and really it just kind of ticks us off a little bit, right? So that we have all of this negative, feeling behind money. But what I believe is that it's time to really shift the energy that we're putting around money, because it's just energy. Just like everything, like the chair you're sitting in, like you, the clothes we have on, everything is just energy. And so we have to remember that we are alchemists. You all have the ability to create whatever it is that you want. So if you're an alchemist, that means you have the ability to transmute the energy behind money and what you're putting into money. So you have this incredibly powerful gift to be able to do that, and we just don't use it enough. So the goal here is for you to be able to shift your own vibration around money, because only by shifting your vibration will you start to have that impact, and only as the group of spiritual entrepreneurs and healers and leaders and people who are here to shift consciousness, when we can get this money thing down, we can change the world in a major way, and we can use that money to serve. And like Roger was saying at the beginning, when we're all incredibly abundant, we just don't need it anymore. So I'm turning it over to Daniel.
It's quite a lot there to take in right at the beginning, but I promise we're gonna get into that in more detail. So, why is poverty a mental disease? Well, why? Well, everything is created by a thought, and thoughts of scarcity do create disease. It creates a very negative feeling, and from my studies, and I'm sure many people know about Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and ancient Hermetic wisdom shows us that the all is mental. Okay, now, when you think about that, it's mental, that we're inside a thought, and we create thoughts. We have the same ability. It's our really, it's true. You tell me what a man thinks about money, and I will tell you if that man lives in wealth or scarcity. I will be able to do that, and you can too. So these are the thoughts that create disease around money. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. There's only so much to go around. Money was created to enslave us, and you have to work hard for it. Now, some of these things may be true. I'm not saying they're not, but so what? Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you do look at change. Now, what do I mean by that? It is my belief that mankind's greatest asset is our ability to create with our thoughts and our feelings. Yet, here we are. It's the observer or the creator. Now, I have researched this and studied this, spent a lot of my life focusing on this, and I find that all of us, myself included, is very conditioned to observe and then document it and regurgitate it and talk about it and believe in it. And I focus more on what I'm observing than I am on my greatest ability, which is to create. So ask yourself the question, if you could master the ability to create, would you ever give attention to something you observe that you don't like? What would you do? You would create what you want. But yet here we are, enamored with what we observe. And when we find something we observe that we don't like, we try to wrestle it to the ground. We try to attack it. We try to dismantle it. And that just engages us in that energy. So what that that's there? Just create something different, and that's the best way to transcend it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's what I do. And I still struggle with it because I love to observe. And before I know it, I'm telling the same story over and over. It's like, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? I can create. I'm a creator. We all are. Now, when we don't do that, by not deliberately using our creative power, we allow others to create for us. That's how we wound up in the debt matrix, the poverty matrix. That's what they'll implant. That's what certain powers that be, I'm sure we all know, I'm not going to get into who and what and where they are, and but this is what happens. You get lost in a debt matrix, a poverty matrix. Why? Because you're observing it, you don't like it. So do something about it. Create. Money is energy. Albert Einstein, he tried to explain it to us. Everything is energy. We all heard it. We all know. But have you ever actually thought about it and embraced that everything is energy? Even money is energy. And when you realize that, you have an intimate relationship with money. You see it for its essence, for what it really is. It's energy. And scarcity, when you think scarcity, it means you're disconnecting from source. I love this word, resourceful. I don't know why it's blinking. There's a lot of power going on here. So resourceful means you're full of source. Think about that. When you flip the word resourceful around, you're full of source. Wow. Like superpower stuff, right? You're full of source. I was ready to keep going. It's your turn. I'm getting going. You got to throw a net over me in a few minutes. No, go ahead, babe.
So now, thank you for that. So now, touching upon that, we're full of source, right? In the moment we're in a minute of scarcity and that we don't have and we can't, we're disconnected from source. That's not what we're here to do. We're here, again, like Daniel was saying, to create. So here comes the big topic, this spirituality and money. And so we have our company, it's called Spiritual, but everything starts with Spiritual Biz. There's a Spiritual Biz magazine, Spiritual Biz boot camp. So you may have seen me on Facebook. I have ads everywhere, and people love to comment on my ads. Ooh, it pisses them off when I'm talking about spiritual business. Oh, I love those comments. And so I actually hire someone now to just take care of those comments so I don't have to see them. So, so it's a really big topic, and it really, agitates people. So we're going to talk about this because I hear it all the time. It's on my ads. People love to send me emails about it, like they're the first one that thought that spirituality and money might not go together. But it really is not an oxymoron. They love to say it. In fact, I got to the point I wrote a blog about it, so I just post that blog every time they say it because it's common all the time. So here's the thing. They get really mad about tying our healing gifts with money. But why is it okay to make money when you're disconnected from source? Why is it okay to work a 9-to-5 that you hate, that keeps your vibration down, that's feeding some corporation that's not serving, and that seems to be all right? You can go to work that way, but you try to earn some money doing a Reiki session or helping someone get past whatever blocks they have, and people get ticked off. Why are you charging? Why are you charging for this healing gift?
How dare you make money while you help somebody? But it's okay if you peddle poison and you make money. That's all right.
That's all right. And the thing is, when you're working those jobs that you can't stand, the money is never satisfying, right? You get the money, but you feel like you have to sell your soul to get it. So when you get that paycheck, you got to run out and get something that makes you feel good because you're so miserable during the week. I did that. Who else does that? Seriously, don't we all? Yeah. When I was working on Wall Street, don't hold that against me. I was working on Wall Street, and I remember the day that I got really ticked off, and like, it was a miserable day, and I walked out. I worked on Fifth Ave with all the beautiful, expensive shops, and I went and purchased a handbag that was more than most people's mortgage payment. And I didn't even really like it, but I was so annoyed with my day, I did something really stupid. Like, how foolish to do that? What could I have done with that money to help somebody? But that's what we end up doing because the money doesn't satisfy us. So the only way that you should be living your life is being in alignment with source, living your purpose, whatever that is for you. But if you're a healer and you have gifts, you have knowledge that can shift consciousness on the planet, that's really the only way you should be making money, when you're in alignment with source. And really, you agreed to that before you came in. There was a plan that you agreed to before you entered this density, this place called Earth, that you had a role to play. But society has conditioned us to believe that that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And since we've been conditioned to not do that, we're stuck in those 9-to-5s. And we're not living the purpose that we're here to do. And that, to me, is incredibly unfortunate because you have gifts that you're supposed to be sharing to shift consciousness. You're awake, that's why you're here. And so this is part of what you're supposed to be doing. So if you're doing that on the weekends, spending that money that you get that paycheck and it's just because you have to feel better, you have to really step back and rethink what that means for you and what you can do to shift that. Daniel.
You know, it's so true. Indeed, it's amazing. I still can't fathom why we accept making money doing things we don't like, but we have a problem if you make money serving, helping. And that's starting to shift. So you have to see your business as a vehicle to serve. You know, it's interesting that every day, and I mean every single day in the line of work that we have, this company that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create 6 figures and beyond, every single day I hear people, entrepreneurs I call them, they say they want to help people, and they mean well. They're sincere, they're genuine. They go, I want to help, I want to give, I want to serve. And I say, great, have you created a spiritual business? No. Well, then how are you expecting to help? That's what a business is. If you really want to serve, then you need to build your spiritual business. Why? Because it's balance. I'm pretty sure, and I can't speak for any of you, but I would bet that the majority of us have spent a large portion of our life dedicating ourselves to spiritual knowledge. And that's beautiful. We've all cared to learn, to expand. That's why we're here. Yet we treat the business platform with such disrespect. And it's alive, it's a being. It is my belief that we all gave birth to a brainchild. It is real. We gave birth to the desire for knowledge, to expand. It's innate in us, to learn, to grow, to evolve. Yet there's another part of us that we birthed. It's to have a platform to share the knowledge. What Kimberly is talking about is if you have a lot of spiritual knowledge, which I know a lot of you do, possibly all of you do, and you don't share it, it's selfish. You're just hoarding the knowledge. So I find this funny yet very sad. Spiritual knowledge, your child that you birthed gets all the nutrients. You talk about it a lot. You love your spiritual knowledge. You can talk. You know what you're doing.
You go on retreats.
You go on retreats, right? Yeah. Deepak Chopra, right? I love him. I love Deepak. You go on retreats. You go to a place. You went to a place you didn't talk for seven days. I went to a place I only talked for 7 days, but it was interesting. But so spiritual knowledge is where you've got that down, and that child is strong. He's really strong. You're proud of him. And yet the other child, spiritual business, is like, well, what about me? And one day you get annoyed and you go, hey, spiritual business, why can't you be more like your sister? And spiritual business says, because you're starving me. You're not giving me any nutrients. You don't care. So it's not how much you have to pay. Here's one of the things I had to learn. I actually learned this from you. I'm originally from New York. You can hold that against me or love it. I don't live there now. We're actually moving this week. It's very exciting for us. We're moving across the country. But I used to say, how much? How much? How much is that? Well, how do I know? You know, skepticism. Now I say, how much do I get to pay? It's unbelievable to get to pay. It's a privilege. It's an honor to feed your child. I like to plant. I do. I like little plants. I put them in the sun, and I pour water on it, and I come back next week, and it's bigger. And I'm like, wow. And I get more sun and more water. Never did I say what a pain in the ass that was to give the plant water and sun. I say, wow, I get to do that. So you have to look at, it's a joy, it's a privilege, it's an honor to nourish your business. And if you do that, my God, it makes you proud. It gives you a livelihood. It brings you abundance. A business is a real thing. It's alive. And if you treat it as such, you get to share your knowledge. Now, I find this to be quite spiritual. When two things happen when there's an energy exchange. And by the way, that's what a business is. I know that you all know this, but something that's good to hear it again, is that a business provides a balanced energy exchange where you serve, and then the receiver provides you with gratitude in the form of financial abundance. So two things happen. One, the client values the service they paid for. Nobody really likes the guy at the fair where you put $1 in the basket, he tells you your aura is orange, yay, and then you go home and you have a sandwich. You don't do anything with the information, but you pay a lot of money for someone to tell you your aura is orange. You're going to want to know what's going on. You're going to value that information. The second thing that happens, and I do find this quite endearing, is the entrepreneur becomes an open vessel to receive. You want to help someone? Receive. Let them give. It's a privilege for your client to pay you, not a burden. It's a privilege. And you're stealing from them. Every time you just give something, everyone thinks giving is just giving and giving and giving. No, that's draining. Giving is when you give and you receive. And that's what a business is.
How many of you give your spiritual gifts away for free right now because you don't think you should be charging? Raise your hands higher, because I know it's almost all of you, right? So you're out of balance. And the people that you're helping, I know this is true, really don't care what you're telling them. They're like, that was really cool, and they leave. You give them a reading, you clear their energy, and they walk away, and you don't know what happened to them because there was no value, there was no energy exchange. They didn't really think what you do meant that much. So that energy exchange is key, super, super key, because when you do that, your clients value what you do in a beautiful way, and they get results. I gotta tell you, every time I raise my prices, my clients get better results. It's amazing. So it is amazing. I'm blown away by it. So now we're gonna talk about how to stop being selfish. So we, of course, know you're here, so you've awakened, you know everything that's going on, and you know that it is really now your job, your destiny to shift in this, to help the vibrational shift of the planet, right? That's what we're doing. We're here to shift consciousness. We're here to awaken, hear about disclosure. How can we take this information home? But it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than like, oh, I went to this really cool thing and you should hear it, because I bet your family and friends go, oh, you went to one of those things again, because it's just like it's a hobby, right? It's a hobby. So it really is your job and destiny, with the knowledge that you have, to step out and start to share that information. So this is interesting. So starting this business and stepping out and creating the abundance that you deserve, which again is your birthright, really has nothing to do with you. So this is a little backwards, I know, and it's funny because I have clients that are here will vow to the fact that I teach backwards everything, which is really interesting. But this whole process really has nothing to do with you. It has to do with serving, and it has to do with you really having an impact. So why 6 figures? People, I know this piece is actually in one of my trainings that's online, and I get emails about this all the time, and they're like, I was really ticked off when I saw that, and then you explained it, and they were like, oh, okay. So bear with me if this thing annoys you. So 6 figures. Here's the thing. Money is actually an indicator of how much love you're receiving from your tribe. So your tribe is your clients, your people, that whoever you're serving, and when they really love what you do, they will do an energy exchange. When they really value what you do, there is an energy exchange. So this is not, again, about you so much, it's about the clients. And when the clients do that energy exchange, like I said a second ago, they get much better results because they're committed to what's going on and what you're teaching them. And see, when you're earning less than 6 figures, that also means that you're not stepping out. You have a couple clients here, you made what? Most of you probably charge like 70 bucks for a session, 125 on the high side, because that's what everyone else is doing. And so how many clients do you have to see to make that 6-figure mark? You'd be exhausted, it's impossible. And so when you are crossing that 6-figure mark, you know that you're having an impact, because you have a flow of clients coming in that are hearing what you're doing, that are feeling you vibrationally, that are getting the results that you desire for them to get. So here's the big thing we hear. Healers should not get paid. They need to give their gift away for free. You got this gift from source. It's bad to be charging for it. Like, everybody's heard that, right? Everyone across the board I know has heard that. Don't charge. But here's the thing. I want you to think about what the planet would look like if the light workers had the abundance. If you had the abundance to be able to do amazing things, to serve, to feed children across the country, to get fresh water to a third world country, to build a school, what would it look like if all of you were in the 6- and 7-figure mark and being able to take that money and being able to serve? The world would truly be unrecognizable. It'd be completely different than what we're seeing today. So again, to be clear, making this money is not about you. Yes, it's nice to have that income. It's fantastic to be out of scarcity so you can be at your highest vibration. But it's really about giving back. It's creating abundance so you can serve. You create abundance and then you can serve. And so you're serving by doing the energy exchange with your clients, but you're also serving by taking that money and putting it back out. We're creating an energy exchange with the planet, and it's creating that ripple effect on the planet. So let's say right now you have an income, I'm just threw out a number for $40,000. $40,000 a year. Some people think that's okay. That's what a lot of people make. It's average depending on the state you're in. And you're making that money and things are probably a little bit tight. You've got kids, you got a house payment. That 40 doesn't go very far. So the idea of being able to donate 10% of that money, well, sounds really cool to donate $4,000 a year, probably doesn't happen because you're in scarcity. How am I going to make that next payment on the car? How am I going to do my mortgage or my rent? And because you're in scarcity, you don't tithe. And I want to be clear about something tithing. I take a little different stance on tithing. For me, tithing is being able to put the energy exchange of money back out into the world for an organization that is getting the message out there that serves you. It's I'm not talking about a church. I'm not talking like traditional religion. I'm talking about whatever organization where you're getting fed spiritually that's helping share the message of love and oneness, if that's what you're following, which I think we all are, is that's where you want to be putting your money. So that's what I consider tithing. And so when you're at that $40,000 a year mark, it's tight. You don't donate. It's like you need that extra little money because we're in scarcity. But let's just say you made $100,000 a year or more. So now you're living abundantly. And now you can donate that 10%, that tithing, and that becomes $10,000 a year. So that's an extra $6,000 that you could use to put back out into the world. And frankly, a lot of times my spiritual entrepreneurs will say, well, I don't really need $100,000. I'm like, great, then give more of it away. You don't need it, then give it away. Because it's not about buying stuff, right? It's not what this is about. This is about being able to give back. So does it make more sense now why you should be crossing that six-figure mark? Because it's about serving. It's not about buying a bunch of stuff. It's about being able to give that money back. And when you are creating that $100,000 mark and beyond, it's just easier to give back. And you can plan things. And you can, I mean, I'd say probably a good, I don't know, third of my clients want to start nonprofits, but they don't have the money to start the nonprofit. I'm like, well, build a business. I'm what's the right word? I'm gonna say against nonprofits, but nonprofits, like if you're just gonna start a nonprofit as a nonprofit, it's really hard and they mostly fail. It's like 80% failure rate, it's ridiculous. So I'm like, if you really wanna serve, you start a business, you create abundance, and then you use that money to put it where you want it. And that's where it all makes sense, because you really want to be able to, again, put the money back out there where it really needs to be so that it's really serving at the highest level. So then that takes us into money is love. So here's another trigger thing, right? Money is love. So, but knowing what we just discussed in talking about creating the money through a service, through an energy exchange, where you're serving your client. When your client loves what you're doing, they're willing to give you more money. I mean, if you think about it, when you like someone, when you're in those beginning stages of falling in love, what do you want to do? You want to go buy them a gift, right? Because you really like them. You go buy them something, and sometimes it's like the more expensive, it kind of shows like how much we love them. It's the same kind of idea, but in a much better way, because there's more of an energy exchange.
And also what you're talking about is infusing money with love.
Yes.
Not just money is love, but you're putting love into money. Yeah. So that you're helping. It's not just money is love. It's a very tricky thing.
It is a tricky thing, because it's being able to well, here, I'm going to hit the next slide because I was talking ahead of myself. So knowing that everything is energy, and we know that money is energy, and knowing that you're an alchemist and that you have the ability to transmute anything and you can create your own reality, then that's where you know that you're able to put that energy of love into the money and to see how it can serve, and to really see how when you're working with your clients, or maybe you are the client, you're giving to the person who's helping you, that you can understand that energy exchange better, and that it feels good. Because it feels really good to give, and it feels really good to receive. And you have to see that energy exchange as something that you can, when you imbue it with love, it takes on a whole different meaning than just, oh, I have to pay for that. Like Daniel was saying earlier, it's not how much do I have to pay.
How much you get to pay.
How much do I get to pay? If you're working with someone who has this amazing gift that's helping clear whatever blocks that you have or something along those lines, all the things that these amazing spiritual entrepreneurs do, it's amazing to be able to give them that money. So you have to think like, oh, they're $150 an hour? Like, no, it's like, yeah, that's all they're charging, because what they do is incredible, and how exciting that I get to give them some energy so that I can get something amazing back. Because when we sit in that scarcity of how much is that, then everything's just out of balance. You're coming from a place of scarcity, you're disconnected from source, and that's absolutely not where you want to be. So you're able to create your abundance with thoughts and feelings. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that creation of abundance, because I feel like maybe we didn't quite. I want to make sure we drive it home.
We all can relate to creating. I mean, right? Yeah. So it's our greatest asset. Why are we dabbling with it? But yet we're so enamored with, you know, again, observing and then arguing and fighting. A lot of people here, you know, myself included, I do that. Sometimes, you know, you push against stuff. But then, you know, anti-war, I think it creates more war. Pro-peace has a chance. It's interesting. They're similar, but it's a fine line. And anti-drugs probably creates more drugs. But like pro-health, right? Holistic. So create. Just get your mindset around being that creator. And again, how do you do that? Be resourceful. Meditate on that word. I am resourceful. If you're not resourceful, you're telling the universe that you're the only human around that's not connected to source. Somehow you're walking around, but no source is flowing through you. I don't know if that's possible. So if you're alive, you're connected, but we pinch it off. We kind of, you know, limit ourselves.
We pinch with those thoughts.
Those thoughts.
The thoughts of scarcity. I don't have.
I don't have.
I can't.
But when you're resourceful, you're wealthy beyond measure. So start with that. Say, I am wealthy beyond. You're so wealthy and you're so free. I love it. Abraham Hicks, I think it was, that said it. You're so free you could choose bondage if you want to. That's how free you are. You're so free you could go ahead and just play small. But doesn't that get tired? How long do you want to play small? Been there, done that. Let's reach for the stars.
Absolutely. So we know that being able to create whatever we desire is our gift, and that we can create abundance. And when you're creating abundance and you have, you know, abundance usually comes to us from an idea. We get an aha. And then we ignore that aha, don't we? Because it seems too big and too scary. We're like, oh, it'd be really great to start my spiritual business with X, Y, and Z, this thing that I know I can do. And then we go, ooh, but what's the family and friends going to say? They're going to think I'm crazy. I have a client right now, poor thing. She is actually on a vacation with her mother, who is taking her entire vacation time to tell her how her spiritual business will not work. And so, of course, that makes me go even more like, oh, of course this is going to work. We're going to make sure this happens. But we have to be able to take that aha. She was able to seize the moment of source telling her this is what you need to do, and she took the leap. She even quit her job because she knows that's what she's supposed to do. So when we're looking for abundance, if you're into that 9 to 5 and that's not where you want to be, and you get that little ping from source, you need to start to listen to that, because that ping is what's going to create your abundance.
It's called inspiration.
Yes.
And when you're inspired, that's infinite intelligence communicating with you. But you know what we do? We kill it by thinking. It's amazing. You go down in history as an inspiration killer. That's what you did. You killed inspiration. Why? Because you're thinking, and you're thinking, and you're thinking, and you're thinking. But when you shift from thinking into feeling, and you combine the two, your creative power is just off the charts. Also, just do you want to save some time for questions, or do you want to just finish this? Okay.
Because we could talk forever, but if you have questions about this, we'll...
By the way, Corey Good's coming out. That's
sure.
what we got. I want to sit and watch that, actually. Let's wrap this up. We'll have a few questions.
So again, knowing that you're creating that abundance to serve, and that abundance allows you not only to serve, but to be the best version of you. Because while it's not about you to make the money, but when we are able to spend the money to come to a retreat, to take a week off from work where you can meditate and be in silence. I have a client right now, her goal is to not work 3 months a year. So she's building her business so she can take 3 months off so that she can improve herself, so that she can come back and teach even better. So when we know that money helps you create the best version of you, then you know that's exactly where you need to be. Because again, when you're serving your clients or you're giving them the money, you're doing that energy exchange. That gratitude is showing that money really is, there's love in it. It's a beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be negative. Because even if all that stuff was true about the Babylonian money magic and it was created for control, who cares? Daniel says, who cares?
Well, we care, but the thing is, don't
sit on it.
The way to change it is create something different.
Create something different. So I'm going to do a quick little plug here, because I have my book, Money is Love, will be coming out in spring of 2019, and so, which is going to be really exciting, and you'll hear about that. Because it's so important for spiritual entrepreneurs to shift this. We have to be the change we want to see, right? We've got to be abundant. We've got to get rid of this scarcity. It's just a mental disease. You have to train your brain to not be in poverty, because that's all it is. If we're creating with our thoughts, you're creating your poverty or scarcity with your thoughts. You're creating it. You're making your own reality happen right there. It's probably not the one that you want. So I'm going to give you a little prayer or mantra, whatever you want to call it. So this is stuff that will be in the book. But anytime you have a second of a little, got to pay that bill, and your palms get sweaty, or you know the rent's coming and you get that little butterfly in your stomach because you're like, is there enough in the checking account to cover that? That moment of scarcity that happens, you look at the credit card bills and you're like, what did I buy? Like, you're looking at this and you get nervous. We're in that moment of scarcity. The minute that scarcity thought comes into your mind, I would love for you to do this. Infinite intelligence is organizing the flow of abundance to me. That's it. That's all you have to do is switch that thought and start training your mind to be in a place of abundance. Because
I am open to flowing that abundance to others. So those are the two.
Yeah, in and out. So we covered a bunch of stuff here today. We showed you how you are 100% responsible for your financial situation. Poverty is a mental disease. You just have to change the way you think, not just, but think and feel. I know it sounds so easy, doesn't it? Just change the way you think. And it's good to have a strategy about how you're going to create your business too. But we talked about the real reason why light workers have been told not to charge. I truly believe it's to hold us down. Because if we're in a low vibration, we can't create. When we're worried, we're in that, like, you know, your stomach's turning because you got to pay the rent. You can't create in that moment. So I believe we've been told not to charge to keep our vibration down, because if you guys were all at your highest vibration and able to create and serve, could you imagine the consciousness shift we could have? It'd be amazing. We also talked about the one way to create abundance, to feel good about that abundance, and that's making sure you're living your purpose, whether it's a spiritual business or whatever it is that feeds your soul. Make sure you're doing that. Life is way too short to be doing a 9-to-5 that you can't stand. And we talked about why earning less than 6 figures is being selfish, because it's not about you, it's about serving. And if you're not crossing that 6-figure mark, you're probably not putting the energy back out to serve whatever tithing you want to do. So it's imperative to do that. And then the last piece was the money is love, that you can imbue that energy of money with love in no matter what you do, and just shift your perspective about it. So up to you.
So we can wrap this up. If there's questions, we can get into it. I just wanted to make sure that we use your greatest gift.
So this was your list of, I think we skipped a slide. That's okay. This is your list of...
Skip? Hang on a second.
But go back one more. There you go.
What you need to cure yourself from
This is what you need. These are the 10 points. Too far.
Oh, I went back too far?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. One more. Click.
The tree.
The tree.
Perfect.
Click one more.
What happened?
Click.
There it is.
Click one more. There you go.
Keep you around. So, use your greatest gift, your ability to create. You should only be earning money while you're living your purpose. I mean, or else why would you? Well, there's all kinds of reasons, but think about it. I mean, you should only be earning money while you're living your purpose, truly. See your spiritual business as a vehicle in which to serve around the globe. That's what it is. Again, spiritual knowledge without a platform to share the knowledge is selfish. I mean, I like movies, right? If I made Star Wars and then I just kept the tapes in the basement and never put it on a screen, imagine someone stumbles upon it like 100 years later, like, what is this? Why didn't the guy put it in the theater? Well, you have knowledge like that. Put it out there. Stop being selfish. You have a role to play here. Know that we have been, Kimberly just went over this in great detail, told as light workers not to charge to keep us down. Money is love. So what we're here to do in a nutshell is to inspire you into action. Not to inspire you to go back to the thinking circle. I've been there. I spent 10 years in a thinking circle. I thought, how's the business going, Dan? Oh, I'm thinking. How's it going now? I'm pondering. How's it going now? I'm doubting. How's it going now? I'm thinking. How's it going now? I'm weighing the pros and cons. How's it going now? I'm killing inspiration with doubt. Till one day I'm like, I gotta get out of this thinking circle. How do I get out of it? I went to a drum circle. And then what happened was, I got out of that. And then I started to feel. I opened my heart, and I trusted it. I realized that infinite intelligence was communicating with me, and I finally communicated back. And it is our purpose, again, to help 5,000 spiritual entrepreneurs create 5,000 spiritual businesses in the next 5 years, and we would be thrilled to see some of you be a part of that paradigm shift. You are, or if you are, and I know you are, many of you spiritual teachers or coaches who are, you're serious about becoming a professional and creating a career with your gifts, your knowledge. And if you're truly ready to become a true spiritual entrepreneur, it takes energy. It doesn't just happen. It takes time, it takes money, and it takes being creative. We have a free gift for you. Kimberly wants to share with you, and I know I do as well, the 5 shifts our clients are using to create 6-figure spiritual businesses right now. We would love to share that with you. So if you're interested, simply go to spiritualbizsuccess.com, and you can watch a training presentation. And after that, it'll allow you to basically contact.
Yeah, if you feel we're a vibrational match, you can reach out. There'll be a way to book a call at the end of the session.
We'll give you a free breakthrough session.
To see if you're ready. Not everybody's ready, but we'd love for you guys to get ready. Sometimes you just got to get ready to get ready. But
getting ready to get ready.
But there's a lot of shifts in that. So it's Spiritual Biz Success. If you kind of poke around too, there's a Spiritual Biz magazine. You can go take a look at that, where people submit and talk about spiritual stuff other than just business. But yeah, so check that out. And this fly is like loving me.
Thank you so much.
Kimberly Maska and Daniel Pape, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And
we have a few minutes.
Yeah. Honestly, this is groundbreaking stuff. You guys are doing something. Thank you from the bottom of my. Let's give it up for them. Let's give it a round of applause.
Thank you.
We need more of this. We do, because we are going through a shift, and we need to be able to not just survive, but thrive. And that's what you guys are bringing to the table right now. So we're going to do some Q&A. So what I'd like to do, if you have questions, please get up now. Let's not stay in our minds like you were talking about. If you guys have a question, yeah, get out of the circle. Come on over, and I'll just ask that you keep it to one question, and please do not remove the microphone from the stand. It's really loud when you do that, and we don't want to make the sound guys mad, because we love them, don't we? So, what questions do we have? I'm going to turn this on. Give me one sec.
Oh my goodness. It's Kat Wanders.
And what's your name? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Kat. I did not ask permission from them to do this, but I've been working with them for about a year now, and I just want to express that I made $55,000 last month doing my spiritual business, and it's been life-changing. So if anyone does want to talk to me, I'm happy to talk to you about what my journey's been like, and just thank you guys for changing my life.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about how you found them and how that process began for you?
Divine inspiration. I was looking for a mentor, and I knew that I wanted her to be female, and I knew I'd know her when I saw her. And on Facebook, of all things, I stumbled across her webinar, and it completely shifted my perspective with money, because I had not had the best relationship with it up until this point. And I signed up. I talked to Daniel on the phone for 3 hours. I had my credit card out before he was even done talking, and I kept trying to pay him, and he just wouldn't stop talking to me. And that was, it's been over a year and a half now. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Kat.
I have a question. How do you know if you're ready?
Yeah, this is a big one, because we all have something, and we're like, how do we know if we're ready? And it really has to come from right here. Because the biggest thing, so, if you do watch the training and you book a call with us, we actually are interviewing you, because not everyone is ready. We have to know, I can only make you successful if you're ready to be successful. And we'll still have those little money blocks, which is what we do throughout our program, is really, we're shifting your vibration around money and showing you how to build business. I thought it was a business program when I first started it, and I realized it's really not. It's a full transformational shift around money. And so if you're trying to wonder if you're ready, it's really about releasing the fears and being like, you have to say, yes, I'm ready.
And what's interesting about this question, if I may, Kimberly, is that put yourself in our shoes for a minute. Everybody that encounters us needs help. And that's really cool because we love helping people. If you're already making $2 million a year with your spiritual business, you probably don't need Spiritual Biz Boot Camp. But we have a different program. It's called Spiritual Biz Mastery for people that are getting to that level, and it's a different year-long program. But my point is, everyone needs help, and that's really cool. But in order for us to help them, they have to be helpable. This is a funny word, helpable. Well, what makes somebody helpable? Well, we've narrowed it down to 3 qualities. It's almost, you got mad at me one day because I tried to help an unhelpable person and I realized I'm not that good. I actually couldn't help them. So what makes someone helpable? Well, the first thing is you've got to be resourceful. You have to have that mindset. You have to say, I am resourceful. I am connected to the stream of unlimited energy, and money is energy. Therefore, I can manifest the money that's necessary to invest. You have to have that resourceful mindset. Number 2, you have to be decisive. This is essential. What is the opposite of decisive? It's indecisive. Indecisive, again, is I have to think, I have to wait, I have to ponder. I have to kill inspiration for a little while. But when you're decisive, you shift from that into into feeling. And then you just leap. It's what entrepreneurs do. They just go for it. You have to do that, or else you're going to go back to the thinking circle, and then God help you. What happened to Bob? I don't know. He went off to think. He was never heard from again. You know what I mean? So you've got to be decisive. And number 3, you have to be coachable. That's obvious. You have to let your mentor coach you. So if you're resourceful, decisive, and coachable, you have the fundamentals to get there.
Yeah, and some people want to, they wonder, they're like, well, what is my gift? I'm not quite sure what that is. And if you find me and you follow me on Facebook, all my clients, that's what they do, is they'll show you how to tap into those gifts. A lot of my mastery clients, that's their thing, where they're showing you how to really tap in. What is it? You may be, I don't know, I have clients who work with people who see dead people. They see people all the time, and they don't know how to manage that energy, so they show them.
Clients are amazing. What an array of, they go to Saturn. Some people, I'm kind of kidding, but not really.
Not really.
So some people do all different kinds of stuff, right?
I love it when people get on the phone and they'll say, this might shock you. I'm like, oh, no. No.
What a clientele, right?
So if you're not sure, find a spiritual mentor, which I am, but we really do focus on the business, but find someone. And if you want to know, you can always reach out. Like I said, find me on Facebook, but all of my clients are there to show people how to tap in. If you're not quite sure how to take that next step with that gift, or you're a little wobbly, that's what my clients do, is they show you how to really tap in, how to master your gifts, how to master your energy so that you can serve, and then you're ready for boot camp.
What I love about you guys is that you're business people, but you're actually philosophers, because we talk about the exoteric or the symptoms, and you could say that that's business, right? But then you go into the esoteric, you're not really changing without, you're changing within, and you're changing your mind, and then that changes your life. And that's what you guys are actually teaching in a practical sense.
Indeed, that's it. That's why it's Spiritual Biz Boot Camp.
It took a while to figure that out. Truly, I thought it was a business program, and then I'm like, oh no, the transformation that people go through is mind-blowing. So I've realized that it's really...
That's how we've helped each other. Kimberly came from a business background. I come from a creative, artistic background. So all I did is study, and she started to call me Socrates. All I did is read, and I wasn't turning it into anything. She's like, you've got to create a business. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to hear some of this philosophy. So together it kind of hooked up.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about how you guys met and how you started what you guys are doing now?
I don't know. It's kind of racy.
3 minutes, just
kind of racy.
I would say we truly just manifested each other. We were, like anyone, everyone says, it's always funny. They say, well, how did you meet? Yeah. If they go to that corner of the place where we met, they're going to find their, beloved. Yeah. And it's that's not how that happened. So it was a lot of years of inner work. Yeah. And when we met and he found out what I did, he was like, I thought he was confused. He's like, I help spiritual entrepreneurs create their businesses. He's like, you do what?
Well, I was looking for that. And see what happened.
Well, that was what I was going to say. I thought he was confused, and he was blown away that that's what I did. So we truly manifested.
So I'm writing a book, and it's about transcending adversity. Friedrich Nietzsche talked about it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I needed way more mechanics, and I need to know, you can't just drop a bomb on someone and go, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Peace. Wait a minute, I need information. So I really delved into that. I want to know, how do you do that? So I was studying and writing, and I needed someone to help me create a business. So I was performing. She wasn't really impressed. I couldn't believe it. I was singing at the House of Blues, right? Sold out. Los Angeles. I bring her to the gig. She's like, whatever. So then I bring her backstage. She's like, whatever. And then I started telling her my philosophy, and she's like, oh, yeah. So that's how we met. But we were both. That's how I see it. But we both, yeah.
That's cute.
So we're both helping each other, and now we take what we have together to help all of you. And this has just been a real treat for us to talk in front of you. Yeah. So thank you so much.
So, yes.
Thank you guys
for
so
the
much
energy
for being here.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to know, I know we're all prolific readers here because we're all a bunch of nerds. Can you give us some ideas for books we can read that will kind of help us with prosperity mindset and really connecting to abundance?
So, yeah, oh gosh, there's so many. And I actually been delving into them all because as I'm writing and creating what I'm doing. So it's really interesting. I think Edwina Gaines is probably like so on point. And I don't know if you guys know who she is, but I interviewed her for Spiritual Biz magazine, and she's like the cute as a button. She's like, I don't know, 80 something now, and she's amazing. She actually came from a ministry background, and she lives in Alabama in the South, but she just has this beautiful way of sharing. And so any of her stuff is right on point with what I'm talking about. It's really interesting because people kept asking me if I had studied with her, and I had actually never heard of her. And I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. And so eventually when I figured out who she was, I was like, oh my God, we're very in vibrational alignment with what we're saying. And so I interviewed her, which was a lot of fun. And you can see that interview on Spiritual Biz magazine. I know you're gonna. I can't remember the name of the book.
But what's her name again?
Edwina Gaines.
Okay, of course.
Okay, we can Google that.
Yeah.
And to round up, I know that everybody here is going to go back into their lives, and they're going to want to talk about this to their friends who might be coming at them with some of these negative mindsets, right? So can you guys give some tips for us going back into our lives to be able to support the message and all of that?
Well, number one is that we have shifted here tonight. Some of you have, and there's momentum. I love this word momentum. My father was a very creative man. He passed away in 2011, but before he did, he had told me, he said, whenever momentum is on your side, ride that cosmic wave all the way into the shore. Don't jump off the wave going, oh, there'll be another one later. You may be just floating out there for years. So momentum is on your side. It's the leverage of the universe. Protect it. Don't let anything creep in, like a thief in the night, and start to get in your head and start to take you back to that danger zone, back to that comfort zone, back to the thinking zone, back to the doubting, back to the observing, and just complaining about what you observe. Just maintain, and don't make hard work of it. Don't be like, I'm maintaining the frequency, I'm carrying, it's not, don't make hard work of it. Just during the day, just feel it. And if you can do it 51% of the time, that's it, just a little more than you're not doing it, you'll start to really maintain it. And then before you know it, that will be your default frequency. You'll just be like, I've got this.
Yeah.
It's good.
And get a mantra. Like, I love that infinite intelligence is organizing whatever it is that I need. So that any moment that there's this moment of scarcity, I'm like, no. I know infinite intelligence has to. There's really no other way. I'm just getting in my own way if I create an issue. So create something that's just small. Yeah. Like nothing, again, don't make heavy lifting of it. Something small that you can just, boom, switch your thought process. Boom, switch your thought process.
And have fun with it.
And have fun. Like,
because what's more fun than using your creative
yeah. And then what'll happen, you do that for a few days, and then you're going to see it.
You'll witness the manifestation.
You'll witness something, and you're like, oh, that's it. I always find it fascinating when people join our program, even if it's just like a deposit because we're getting resourceful, something happens. Either money just shows up they didn't know they had. Like, it's incredible. The universe shows them that they're on the right track. So when you start training your brain in that way, and you come up with your little mantra about the infinite intelligence is organizing whatever it is you desire, you start nailing that consistently, and it will start to manifest, and then you get excited because then you're like, oh, this actually does work, and then you just got to keep going and again building that momentum.
Thank you guys so much. Give it up for Kimberly Maska and Daniel Pape. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing today.